Hello and welcome back to Imperial Diplomacy. This time, another edition of Ezio's Spain. I don't know what the title will just be just yet. We'll find out as the game goes along. We left it off in 1646, where Ezio is having an interesting time with Portugal being completely in control of his homeland. Um, but elsewhere, it's been going all right. I mean, Southeast Asia is nice, right? Central America is looking pretty decent. Well, North America and South America. So it's really just Europe that's being a problem. But of course, that's a massive problem because you cannot win without your capital city. With that, I think I'm just going to hand back over to Ezio as we continue to look through this game. We left you off on builds, so we'll be going into the spring phase. Ezio, do you want to take us there?
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at some moves. Do-do-do. So, what we see, which is big this turn, is that Austria and Mali, who had backed off of the Ottomans a little bit last year, they both had attacked and then backed off, both kind of thinking that they could afford to be neutral. Here, they make a lot of moves that seem pretty anti-Ottomans in a pretty serious way. Mali reinforces the Sahara a lot, and Austria gets into Adriatic Sea and fights for Tyrrhenian Sea, and all in all, makes a lot of very useful moves. Unfortunately, I try to vacate Barcelona, trying to give space for Balearic Sea to retreat, but
Ouch.
this turn, France moves into Navarra. Madrid obviously was left open, so I bounce in Navarra, and then don't have space for Balearic Sea to get out, so Balearic Sea disbands, which
That's
is going to be
really,
annoying.
really painful in a position like this because you only have the build center in Barcelona, right? So if you. So every unit there is worth its weight in gold because it's not something you can easily get back again. Getting forced
Yep.
retreated, well, forced disbanded here is pain.
Yeah, it's not ideal at all.
Wait, so what is Portugal doing there? They tried to support Cadiz Bay into Gibraltar and just support Gibraltar to hold.
Yeah, the claim is that this is a misorder, an
Hmm.
intentional misorder to make peace. I just think that Portugal misordered this, period. They moved into Gibraltar, not
Oh,
Strait of Gibraltar.
of course, yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah. And I
Because
mean, that's very lucky for me, because obviously Strait of Gibraltar gets forced disbanded as well if it gets forced here. So I have an extra unit around.
well, that's pretty huge. So at least the at least you got a lucky break on that side.
Yeah, it's not like this fleet does that much at the moment, because not taking Valencia or Gibraltar or anything. So yeah, but
Yep.
I have
Um,
the fleet still. It's around.
and if Mali is attacking the Ottomans now, then that fleet can potentially be useful, right? Because Ottomans is
Yeah.
well, Ottomans have Tangier. Wait, did you put them in Tangier here? Did they put you in Tangier? I can't tell what that move is.
Oh no. Um.
No,
That
never
did not
mind.
happen.
Okay.
So I went back.
Uh, okay. Oh no, they did.
Molly put me in Tangier,
Ah, nice. Okay. Well, that's
and
a
Riff
good.
gets popped because we moved to Riff, and so that army gets taken off the board.
Righty. Well, so there's a couple of good things happening for you here.
Yeah, like I said, Mali and Austria both deciding to actually attack the Ottomans means that we can get resecured. And Tangier is a core of mine, as we've talked about, as I got cored. So I can recapture it, and then um, maybe next year I can start putting units down over here. And hey, I have an army here. Maybe I can get this convoy back if things go well for me. With Balearic Sea getting disbanded, that's probably not going to happen, but we'll see.
I think that trying to build in Tangier may be a bit too hopeful, given all the Portuguese fleets coming to get Bay Canary Basin, Sea of Azores, Cadiz Bay, and trying to push into Strait of Gibraltar, right? Um,
Yeah,
but hey, worth a shot.
but you gotta try. And Tangier is remarkably um, isolated. It only borders Sea of Azores and Strait of Gibraltar as far as naval provinces.
Hmm.
And so, since I have Rabat, and since Mali has Marrakech, then Tangier might actually be open at some point if I can arrange a self bounce or something.
Hmm.
So this it's a hope, right? It's a dream, and Barcelona is obviously a lot more likely, but even Barcelona is pretty tough because Ottomans are in Balearic Sea instead of Bonifacio, so that's not great. And despite Austria helping me out a little bit, and by a little bit I mean very significantly with the Ottomans by being now in Tyrrhenian Sea, Rome, Adriatic Sea, Strait of Toronto, they lost Naples. They should be able to recapture it. I'm like 90% confident. Um, but the bigger deal is they didn't make much progress against France as a result of this. Um, they're still working with England, and they don't want to like force Paris and just get in. So that's fine. But it means that these French armies are just going to be a pain
Yeah.
still.
Such is the
So,
way.
and then for the Ottomans, they have to deal with a bunch of hostility in the east because the Mughals have been working against them, and the Mughals have now had enough time to start mobilizing all of their units to the Western Front. So all of the area in what was formerly the Safavid Empire is now actually a battleground where the Ottomans can't progress. And against Russia, Russia can't do anything against the Ottomans, so it's just like they can't actually beat the Ottomans. It's just a question of stalling. But we see that King, after stabbing Tokugawa and getting so many centers last year, is able to send some armies to the west to help reinforce the line as well. Um, Also, you notice that Inuit sent a fleet up into Laptev Sea, which does border Updorsk. And so if these guys can get their act together, we can still force Updorsk. And so the Ottomans, despite being huge and growing and making progress in most places, looks like they're going to get stalled out if everyone can actually keep attacking them. So we've all
So,
got a chance here.
does Ottoman have any allies? Um, I guess maybe Sweden? Although
Yeah,
Sweden isn't
Sweden
actively
definitely
working with
seems
them,
on
right?
site.
Um, yeah, it looks like every single neighbor of the Ottomans is attacking them, which is obviously amazing news for you. Um,
Yeah. The Assyria is not.
oh, Abyssinia, yeah.
Abyssinia.
The and it
Yeah,
looks
this
like
one's not.
Congo is helping them against Abyssinia. I mean, Ottomans are
Yeah,
just walking into everything, and
yeah, that's just walking into stuff. And I mean, at this point, if you see someone trying to throw, you gotta have to just kill them. So that's fine. And Portugal is the other big ally of the Ottomans.
oh right, yeah, of course. Um, united by
Yeah,
hatred of you.
didn't even do anything, man. I didn't do anything. Like I took one center off of Portugal, and I didn't take anything off of the Ottomans. No, this is them being driven by greed of thoughts,
Mm.
which is fair because
Something you
these
would
thoughts
know.
are coming from
You
me.
would know plenty about. Yeah.
Exactly. Their thoughts gotta come from me, so that's where they're trying to take him.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's basically the entire part of the world that's oh my god, it's the Ottomans. Now let's look at the world that's not oh my god, it's the Ottomans, which is the Americas. Where things are just generally going well for me. Um, I've been talking to Mapuche about how we're gonna split up these centers, and the agreement is that he's gonna get Chapaya, and I'm gonna get Kuala Kolu and Chuima. Plus, obviously, I'm going to get Madeira, and then we'll probably be okay. right? Clearly, all of these armies that we have on these borders are just gonna go away safely, and we're not gonna
Well,
worry about it.
surely you can convoy them all out of South America to various other places where you need them.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
Also, I do happen to tap Gunai, which does let the Netherlands take Wagime. Something I don't know if we highlighted enough in builds last year. And I'm just going to re-highlight to remind the audience, despite my war with the Netherlands, I basically told them if they don't disband these armies, I'm going to kill them. And the Netherlands was like, all right, fine, we got this. So the Netherlands disbands those armies, and then I don't kill them.
Oh my god, you saw Dot and did not take Dot. This is
Yeah.
wait, you saw Dot and actually repositioned such that you can't take the. No, you can still take it from Carib and Guyana currently.
Yeah, I'm not that crazy. You kidding me? What if he didn't follow through and I had to take them?
Fair enough. Yeah.
But there wasn't that much going on here, and so I ensured that Netherlands would be able to take Wagime, and basically my thinking is I still want them as a buffer against
Ayutthaya.
Ayutthaya. Yeah,
Yep.
Ayutthaya. And so I don't want them to completely collapse over here. They're moving an army around, and it's fun. So let them take Mapuche. Plus, frankly, I don't believe that we'll be able to fully demilitarize this area with Mapuche.
Mm-hmm.
Like, organizing a de-escalation of this magnitude requires a ton of coordination and lots of communication. And I've only ever managed to do this with really trusted allies, like Shoshone, where we've actually managed to have our border be relatively peaceful. And as I've talked about at length, I just don't have that relationship with Mapuche. We've been friends, and so we haven't like attacked each other, which has been amazing. So it's been excellent, but I don't trust our future relationships here.
Mm-hmm.
I also just think most people in Mapuche's situation are going to look at this border with me and think, oh my god, Bane is going to march south and crush me with everything. So I need to be ready to attack him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, seeing
I hear my paranoia got the better of me again.
well, seeing Barora core as well is not a good sign if you're trying to demilitarize the area, right?
Right?
It's like so,
Obviously.
I want to be able to build here whenever I want, and if they have a core there, then you need a core at the front line too, so you can retaliate build. But like, the way to demilitarize is just not to have cores there at all.
Yeah. That was one of the big things that Inuit and Shoshone agreed upon after they stabbed Athabasca to conquer a bunch of these things. They agreed they wouldn't core anything over here.
Mm-hmm.
As you'll notice, all of these are uncored, and that's a great way to keep North America safe. And we had a similar thing where we wouldn't core any of these inland stuff. Um, they were okay with me coring stuff on the eastern seaboard to help me get fleets into the Atlantic, and I assume they were similarly okay with Inuit doing it, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, South America, it's basically just finishing up, cleaning up Amara, which is going smoothly-ish. There's still this annoying Portuguese army down here, and something you'll notice is that Portugal supports Guarani into Chapaya,
Oh.
which is supporting Mapuche.
Yeah,
And
that's
Mapuche's been telling me this whole time that they're going to go and they're going to attack Portugal, and that their long term plan from here is to get control of South Atlantic and take these centers down here, and then focus on South Africa, South Atlantic, and then go up the western seaboard and go up here, and just take this. But you'll notice they move out of Southern Sea into Cape Basin. They take St. Helena, fine, but this screams to me, and Portugal can defend it, but they chose not to. They didn't support themselves in, they supported themselves against Moristad. So this whole thing screams to me that Portugal agreed to cede St. Helena, and that Mapuche is not at all interested in attacking anything else again about like is not interested in taking anything else from Portugal.
mm-hmm.
And so this extra army, I think, is now a hostile army and is very likely going to be instigating a war between Mapuche and me.
Yeah.
Something that I obviously assisted by tapping.
I was gonna say, like, at this point, I assume that tap was made with the assumption that, yeah, you're not going to be allies after this turn anymore, right? Did you even try and talk that off as like, oh, it was just this, it's not anything against you?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I tried to play this off. It's not just it's just the dot. It's fine. I'll support you back into Wagimon in the fall. It's okay. I just needed Netherlands on side for an extra turn. It's just one dot. Like, come on, I'm not attacking you anywhere else. Don't worry about it. Chikitano, that's just to take Kuala Kolu. Like, we're fine.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I didn't take the Pacifics, right? Like, I didn't move into Peru Basin. I did move into South Pacific Ocean, right? That's like that's a big deal because that's what they've considered the main way of saying I'm attacking you is going into South Pacific.
Mhm.
And so I didn't do that. See, I'm a friend.
Yeah, I do notice you're like holding in Guatemala Basin. I found that in from my perspective as well. Guatemala Basin being the one sea province between the two Pacific Oceans, right? It's well, I mean, yeah. Solomon Islands is less relevant, but like Guatemala
Yeah.
Basin is such an important province to just be in at all times of Spain. This is what I've noticed from my own gameplay. If
Yeah.
someone else gets in there, you can be in a really bad spot very, very quickly. So I think it's a good idea to just hold back, even if you are planning to stab Mapuche. Because if you go into South Pacific Ocean, they just go, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's go in where you came from."
Yeah. I actually think of it as not a defensive position. Um I agree that I think keeping a fleet here is important because it can affect both of the oceans.
Hmm.
But like any unit in the ocean, either of the oceans can affect both of the oceans. And it only covers Mexico City. It doesn't actually border that many dots. Yucatan and Honduras aren't.
I mean,
Like Galapagos as well, since I have it. But I just
yeah,
like being here. Yeah, I can move into either ocean. It doesn't look aggressive to anyone, so
I think it
it seems fun.
like yeah, it only borders Mexico City on the mainland, right? But
Yeah,
I think the possibility for it to convoy through to Yucatan or Honduras is also really painful for you if they do get in there.
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah.
I really never had to consider anyone else convoying armies into my area.
Hmm.
Just as you can see, I've done a very good job at keeping fleets away from me. Except the Caribbean, I've just completely conquered it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about the Caribbean much at all. It's down to just me and England here, and England is kind of outgunned.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of, meaning
oh yeah,
completely.
yeah, because Inuit managed to snipe Bermuda as part of our stab on England last year, and I'm bringing my fleet back from South Atlantic into Sargasso Sea. I don't think I'm expecting this to work. I'm trying to bounce to keep everything open and empty because next spring or in the fall I can take Santo Domingo and Puerto Rico, and I think I might be able to take. I might have been able to take Barbuda, but guess not.
That one's a weird one, right? Because Puerto Rico can cut Guadeloupe and
Yeah,
England can cut Guyana Current from Sargasso. Oh, they're not in Sargasso anymore. Um,
yeah, Guyana current.
but yeah, it's a weird, like
Yeah, I
tactical.
don't think I can take Barbuda and Puerto Rico
Mm,
and Santo Domingo. I don't think I have enough units to take all three. I think I can only get two
yeah, but that's still
because I need.
pretty decent.
Yeah, no, it's fine. If I ended up in Sargasso Sea, that would have worked. But yeah, so that went well. And then over here, we had tactics, and England went for the shot against Seneca, which was the only move that would have worked out.
Mhm.
Um, I'm surprised they had it hold instead of supporting Erie into Philadelphia. Um,
No,
so that's
you
a
did
news.
support Erie
Oh, I
into
did.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense though.
Supports sometimes get the circle. I don't know when. It might be when they get dislodged.
Yeah, when they get dislodged, when they get cut, perhaps they have
Mhm.
the circle around it to say the support didn't go through.
That will make sense because Bermuda also has the circle there.
Yeah, maybe it's
um,
that. But they were also both cases here they were dislodged. We
yeah.
maybe can find one.
Uh, See, the bot changes how it represents some stuff throughout the course of the game because it's very much a work in progress, although it's been fantastic, right? I do not think 15 games would have been able to happen without this. This
Yeah,
bot.
would have been impossible.
Absolutely incredible. I say that as someone who's still GMing one of the games. I'm
Yeah.
so glad the bot exists, otherwise it would eat my entire day.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so South America's going well. Things are like not going to be great diplomatically, but also I just have enough units over here. It's just one enemy. What's one more? Um,
good, good phrase to live life by in diplomacy. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, not particularly small. He's um got 16 units, so it's just a minor. Like, come on, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Oh
15
god,
units now because you blew one up in Australia, right?
true,
So,
true. Yeah. So here we have Seneca. That's gonna have to retreat. And actually, this is one of the times that I missed it. I missed getting orders in for this unit. I wanted to retreat it to Erie,
mhm.
obviously, but this was maybe the most fortuitous misorder that I had of the entire game. Um, I'll talk about this one more later. Let's finish up talking about the Indonesia. Because yeah, I tapped Gunai, and then we got Timor Sea to take Wagi Man, so that's good. And then we are making progress against Tokugawa still. Obviously, King is still pushing really hard against it, but I end up in Kuroshio Current and Okinawa Trough.
Yep.
So we're feeling good. And then let's see exactly how the tactics
Wait,
ended
there's
up
one
over
more
here.
thing I wanted to ask about on that front,
Yeah.
which was a very conspicuous hold in Sulu Sea instead of supporting yourself to Celebus. Was that a
Oh yeah.
misorder, or was that you being diplomatic with Ayutthaya?
Diplomatic with Ayutthaya.
Hmm.
Because I'm still not convinced that Netherlands is gonna follow through. And so I'm not. Besides, who's like a bigger player in the area, Ayutthaya or Netherlands? Right, Netherlands is down to like 7 centers over here, whereas Ayutthaya's got a lot of units, and
Hmm.
so I am strongly considering making peace with them if I possibly can. And if I see them push to the west, then I will actually be able to peace out with them. But I want to keep options open, and so going into Celibacy, trying to force Kodabatu, like first of all, that's just not gonna work, right? They have an army over here. Like
Yep. They
this
have
fleet's in the east coast,
way
it's
too
going to
much
Enzco
unit
Sea, right?
density for that. Um,
Yeah. So it's like, what's the upside? No, I'll just agree to bounce, and I think we weren't even supposed to bounce is the thing. I think here I was lying to them to be like, oh yeah, we'll do whatever or something, but I don't remember exactly. But it was basically like here with Ayutthaya, I had this thing which was like, look, I can't stab Netherlands until I see you hit Mughals, basically. And at this point, I really don't want them to hit Mughals because Mughals are obviously doing the Lord's work and stopping the Ottomans from winning.
yep.
So I'm laying it. I guess that we're just gonna fight for a little bit more, Agataya, but like I'm not seriously gonna hurt you. I'm not attacking you. It's just like we're not friends, and that's fine.
Yeah. That makes
And then they're
sense.
coring Hainan and Macau.
Oh
Like,
boy.
yeah, fine.
I mean, that doesn't feel fine, but you can't do anything about it, so
Well, I can tap
whatever.
one of them, right?
You
I
can
can
tap
tap
one of them, and
Hainan.
then the other one finishes coring, and suddenly they're very hostile towards you.
Yeah, or just don't tap them and hope they never get any build ever again.
That strategy always works. Anyway, you were moving on to the next turn. Shall we
Yeah.
see? Yeah.
So this was looking at just the tactics over here so we can see like how it actually happened. And yeah, there was just the bounce in Coral Sea. Shoshone has their fleet in Aomori disbanded. So the only progress that the Inuit Shoshone Spain alliance has made into Japan has been rebuffed at this point. But Inuit does take Evans, which is good.
Hmm.
But man,
So wait,
Our orders against Tokugawa were to be crushing.
is Inuit gonna work with Qing on the Ottoman front at the top? Because you said they moved into that sea to tap Obdorsk, right?
Oh, I didn't say they moved into the sea to tap it. I said they moved into the sea, and the sea could tap it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I'm trying to get these two to say, look, don't worry about this front. This front's fine. This fleet over here, hey, Ching, wouldn't you rather this fleet was messing around with Ottomans instead of convoying armies over here, or
Yeah.
supporting units into the Sahara and stuff? Isn't that better for you? So agree to do that, and then it'll be fine. And then I suspect things got hung up on who actually is going to take it.
Hmm.
And the other question of, well, what are you going to do with that fleet afterwards? Why should I cooperate with you when we're at war type stuff?
Yep.
Negotiation just kind of broke
The
down.
whole have peace in one area and fight in the other fails again.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was pushing for this to happen, but like I'm obviously
Not very close to that. Like, that's not
I
something you can
really
directly
can't do
influence.
much about this. And it's like, what, am I gonna threaten to cut the Inuit and like stop working with them anymore? Like, no, I need them. They are gonna be my only hope for North Atlantic Ocean.
Hmm.
So yeah. Uh yeah, that's a noof. Um we're thinking time to look at the Mediterranean now that Austria is in Tyrrhenian Sea. So Austria's gonna retake Naples very easily because Naples has no support. If it does have support from Ionian, that support can get cut.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, sorry for the yawning. I've got Ezio up very early again to record this thanks to time
yeah,
zones.
it's not that early, but it's early enough. I think I ask Austria to have Tyrrhenian Sea tap suit of Bonifacio, so I
Mhm.
can take Corsica.
Oh yeah, because
Basically,
Ligurian Sea is uncuttable, right? So if
yeah,
you go in with Gulf of Leon, you have it guaranteed. That's nice.
yeah. Ligurian Sea plus Gulf of Leon plus Corsica plus Tyrrhenian Sea is like this area part of the Med becomes ridiculous to break.
Hmm.
You need to have so much, like including Barcelona, I'm pretty sure, to actually like break this. And so I'm like, look, we can't actually crush the Ottomans, probably, but at least we can retake Corsica and we can have a nice line that we can be safe in. And Austria seems amenable to that. Plus, if we get lucky tactically, we're in good shape still. And with Mali pressuring Tripoli and Tunis from land, these fleets aren't don't have the liberty to support over here. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. So should be a good position there. That's nice. Um,
yeah, having allies is nice.
yes. So you mentioned you accidentally disband Seneca here.
Oops. Yeah. So this one, I'm like, huh? I didn't realize they had this retreat because it was one unit and the entire board. It was my only retreat, so I pretty no, actually, I had this disband. Sorry, as
well,
well.
that's a force,
But
so you
like,
don't even need to
yeah,
answer
this
that
one's
one,
forced
right?
disband, so no worries. And I just forgot about this one. Um, no, I said this was a fortuitous disband. Why? Well, first of all, I don't. I kind of want to let Shishon be the one who makes most of the games against England over here. I want them to stay on side, and I want them to see a bunch of dogs that they can take safely. And me having an army up here that's a juicy yellow center means Shishon might decide it's better to stab me, and they get an extra dog while stabbing me. Like,
Hmm.
if when I'm evaluating a stab, I sit there thinking, well, I could go +3 this year if I stab. And, like, having a number be +4 instead of +3 makes it a lot more tempting to go for it. And so if they just already have Seneca, then that's one less dot they can stab me for, and they're more likely to stick together. Plus, um, in order for me to just say, hey, you can take Seneca in exchange, like, I'll take a senator from you in Missouri or something.
Nice.
And this is a thing that Shoshone was super amenable to. Right? We've swapped centers before. We swapped Cherokee for Hawaii, and here, like they're gaining so many gains, and they want me to stay on side to keep crushing. They're more than happy to do it. I think they even volunteered that I take Missouri from them. as
Wow.
part of it. It's not a this year thing. They want to do it like once they actually can take Seneca, which will probably be a next year thing. And I say, yeah, I'm not in a rush at all. But what you're saying, though, wow, is that Missouri's a lot better than Seneca.
Yes. That's a
Um,
huge trade for you. That's amazing. Like, as Shoshone, I would just say, well, it's your fault you lost Seneca. It's mine now, right? It's not like you can do anything about that. I mean, I wouldn't say it like that, but that's certainly the attitude I'd have towards it. Um,
yep.
yeah, well, very well done with
They
getting
don't, if I
Missouri, I'll
still
say.
had the army in Erie, you wouldn't be able to feel that way. Because if I have my army in Erie still, suddenly I can do a lot about that.
Yes,
Right.
that is
Yes,
true.
I've lost Seneca to England, but I still have an army over here, and I'm about to take Maryland. And so, if you want to actually make progress against England, like you still need me on side.
Hmm.
This Erie can really mess with you. But I think because I lost this army, I think it made Shoshone not think that I was a threat at all anymore. Um, and that's good. I like it when my ally doesn't think of me as a threat. And this is part of why it's good when I'm at this. I'm in like eighth place or something, right? I'm only at 39 supply centers. I'm not a threat. Look, Ottomans are winning. Everyone else is beating me. So, yay, little sad, lowly Spain. I need all the help I can get from everyone.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's why this ended up being like as far as not critical units, right? This is top tier. No one like I don't we don't need more armies to beat. England's only got four or something over here, and they're completely surrounded on every side. So yeah, this army is unnecessary, and I lost it accidentally, and I shouldn't have lost it. But again, small mistakes are okay when they don't cost you.
Yep. Nice. I
Yeah,
think that's all the retreats then, or all the important
yeah,
ones
not
here.
many retreats. I mean, Amar stuff goes off the board, obviously,
Mm.
and now we just have this one little Portuguese army over here that I'm like, oh man, wouldn't it be nice to disband?
You
But I
surely
also have to take
could.
Kola Kolu. What's up?
You could disband this if you just don't take Quellicolu, right?
Well, or I can get Mapuche to help you take Kola Kolu, and I'm like, hey, you don't be in Chiquitano, right? So support me out of Chiquitano into Kola Kolu. I won't backfill it. I'll take Madeira, and we can be the only ones with stuff in South America. Don't worry about Netherlands; they don't really exist. And then, boom.
All right. Well, I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah. Um, with Austria, yeah, we continue discussing stuff over here to conquer stuff. Um, I forget exactly how we're talking about Tokugawa, but I think we've basically decided we're not getting anywhere. No, not yet. Inuit and Shoshone still definitely think we're gonna make some progress against Tokugawa, and so I'm happy to support them with my one fleet North Pacific Ocean to keep them looking west.
Yes, because
But I'm looking at this
if
and
they
I'm
say
like,
no, right, then if they say we're not going to make any progress there, where do they look from? North Pacific Ocean? That's
exactly. So yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. We can like we're in Kuroshio Currents. You
mhm.
want support to Okinawa? Like, what do you? How can I help you? But I think their focus is on Curl C to help keep Evans and stuff. So yeah, whatever. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Um, and yeah, I think actually we can just go to look at moves.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
Okay, that is a Portuguese unit getting into Quellicolu. That's some fun.
Yeah,
Did you tell
yeah, it
Mapuche
is.
that you were going to force disband the unit in Guaki?
No.
Okay. Ouch. Um, well, and it looks like Quellicolu actually supported Chikitanu to Quellicolu. Um,
I think so, but sadly that
which,
doesn't work.
yeah, isn't a valid move, but they
Yeah.
they did not have this preference of losing their last centre to Portugal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still in Guaqui, which is a pretty good place to be. I gained Madeira, and I'm still in Chiquitano. And now Mapuche is like, all right, we're even. You mess with me in Wagiman. Um, And then I messed with you here. We're fine. And I'm like, all right, fair, fine, 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 fine. I deserve that. Fine, 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 fine.
Did you approve that Shoshone move into Berlanger Ridge on the?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everything that Shoshone does, I know about, and I'm fine with every time,
Mm-hmm.
always. Oops, I clicked the back. I like, and I say fine with, again, it's like a fine with quotation marks. These bounces were completely arranged. Everything's okay.
Yep.
And yeah, here I start coring in Norfolk, which is one of those things that Shoshone is perfectly happy about because they don't want to do it. The move up into Erie, I didn't actually tell Shoshone about, but Shoshone was just like, hey, I'm going to be taking Seneca, and they're like, weren't covering Erie. And I'm like, you need someone to cover Erie, so let's not be dumb.
Yep.
And then we forced the disband, so that worked out. But yeah, so this front keeps on going well. This front doesn't. But I mean, okay, I say it doesn't go well. I'm still +2, but I'm not +3, and maybe Portugal and Mapuche are allied. And then, oh, hey, look, they're all supporting Cape Basin up into Angola Basin. And it's like, yeah, definitely hostile against Portugal here. And then Argentine Basin is going into Southern Sea, right? It's tapping crap up here. And Netherlands and Amard.
Oh no. No. Ouch.
Yeah. So this
Um,
person that I was trying to prop up, and like kind of pissed off a far more relevant player, just that Amard. And so here I'm like, all right, I am no longer trusting Netherlands with anything.
mhm.
Um, so oof. And
Well,
man, I moved out of Halmahera into celibacy.
oh my god, you could have got so many Dutch centers on this turn as well if you just stabbed them.
Oh, I mean, I could have gotten 4, I think, this turn.
Yeah, Timor was free, Kalina, Cayenne,
Yeah.
there's Manado.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's painful. Um,
It's fine. I don't need the dots yet. Now let's go back to the sad region. God damn it.
you lose Barcelona. Um, you do get Corsica. Oh,
Yep.
France got Marseille off you as well, though. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go to the move so you guys can see the results. It's like, ugh,
That
God.
well, you do still have an army alive in Iberia, which is nice. You can potentially retake something at a later date, but yeah, now your
Yep.
closest build center and only build center in the region is Tangier, and there are Portuguese fleets everywhere. Um,
Yes. Yes, there are. So I didn't mean to go forward. I meant to go back.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ouch.
And then Portugal support himself into Canary Basin. I'm working with Molly and trying to be like, all right, look, if you're in Rif and Gadmes, and you're in all of these places, like if you get to Pheasant and these guys, okay, we can really start making progress against Tunis and Tripoli, and everything's great. Um, and then I covered Rabat because I want to be back in Rabat so I can actually stay safe, and I need to hit Gibraltar to have a retreat option. So great, this gets me out of there, and everything's great and happy and fun and friendly and roses and butterflies, except for me walking out of Barcelona and
Why
me
did you
moving
walk out of
Ostaconia, and
Barcelona and not cover it with anything?
I bet he wasn't going to tap it.
Oh.
Because if he, there's very likely that I have Occitania tap Barcelona, right?
Oh, so you just think Balearic Sea is going to hold or go south so
Yeah,
that you cover that build center?
yeah. Just thought I cover it myself instead of bounce, but no, he guessed right.
Mm-hmm. Pain.
Pain.
Uh, Occitania to Gulf of Leon feels dubious to me anyway. Like, why is that not covering Marseille at the very least?
Gulf of Leon's more important.
Really? Then a dot? But it's a dot. Dots are important.
Yeah, but it's got me Corsica. France taking something isn't the end of the world. Like I don't really care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like me committing Occitania to hold Marseille. Like I can't really hold Marseille in the long run if I've lost Gulf of Leon. Then I would lose Corsica, Ligurian Sea. Like I was talking about this line here, Gulf of Leon, Ligurian Sea, Corsica. that's actually safe and secure. Marseille is not.
Hmm.
So
That makes sense.
this was a core.
And they
But
went
yeah,
in
Barcelona
from
moving out. Ugh.
Aquitaine too, right? Which is good. It's out of
Yeah,
your
taking
house.
from Aquitaine is much nicer than taking from Bordeaux, for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it just seems like a still quite a painful situation here, despite the course it could take, and the
Yeah,
time
and
it
I
could
did.
take.
Yeah, I net zero in the area because of Tangier and Corsica, but man,
Yep.
yeah. Anyways, Caribbean goes really well, right? I get a couple of centers and
Oh, you get Barbuda as
forcing them
well.
to disband everything, and North America went well. South America went fine despite this, and all right, I guess we're going to war. And then, yeah, I don't know. Everything else went okay.
Yeah.
The war against the Ottomans, like, yeah, it's continuing. The coalition stays strong for another turn, and Mughals get in,
And you
and
you say that the coalition stays strong, but I see Qing supporting Ottomans into a Russian dot at the top. Um,
yeah. Oh yeah, they sent me a screenshot of me walking out of Barcelona with Balearic Sea walking in, and no text. I assume that was them trying to give me shit to them for trying to work against the Ottomans. I don't think they realized this were like tactics.
oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well.
I think the Qing player very much at this point. It's like,
Yeah. And
what do
it
you
looks
want
like
me
the
to do?
tactics in Indonesia slash the Philippines slash Japan just don't do anything at all, right? Um,
Yeah.
yep.
At least I don't lose anything.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, wait, did they? Oh, they finished coring Macau last turn. Macau and Hainan.
No,
Um,
I guess.
unless that was a map error, but oh
No,
no,
we're
they
not
did.
about fair.
Okay. Well, that's a bit worrying because now they can put it down on this turn if they got any builds. Although I don't know if they did. They got
They
Bahamo,
did.
and Banjarmasin. Okay, yeah, that could be painful for you. I hope your
But look,
negotiation
they
skills are up
actually
to
moved
scratch.
hard to the west,
Mm-hmm.
right? They actually moved hard against Mughals, right? When I'm like, I don't think we want that because Mughals, right? They're taking stuff from the Ottomans. Look at this. They're doing this stuff, and like this is maybe forced. I don't think it's forced. Whatever. But like they're working with Russia to take a lot of stuff, and they're making progress, and it's like, yay! One front of the Ottomans isn't going great. And I mean, okay, they
Yeah.
also lost some stuff over here,
But
so
then
that's
also
fine.
Qing comes in on Mughals as well, right? Just
Yep.
yeah, that's not looking good for them.
Well, thanks to Mughals for doing the Lord's work and being a martyr.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yep, we'll see how that ends up working out for them. I get the feeling
Yep.
it will not work out for them.
Yep. I also
Oh
something to note about
no.
Mali claiming they're attacking the Ottomans a lot. They're really not. Like I know I said the coalition was strong, but here them attacking Congo instead of the Ottomans is just not it.
Yeah, especially since they dislodge the Ottoman unit there, which can then retreat to either Hawara or Darfur. It's like, I mean, it looks like it's an agreed disband of the Zagawa unit, so the Ottomans are going to take that off, right? No, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is why you don't demilitarize an area and dislodge a unit in it. But maybe Mali just had no idea that that unit was going to hold. It's
Yep.
yeah, this is painful. This is really, really painful for Mali.
Yep. Losing both of these eastern centers with hostile armies in here, like sure, I think they can still build in Canum. But something that I didn't touch on at all is that Mali spent a bunch of time coring. Oh, I completely skipped out on this entire game. Sorry, that was something I should have. I paid attention to that during the game and I noticed it, but I didn't say anything about it in the review. Um, Molly spent a bunch of time coring a bunch of these coastal centers.
Hmm.
because, as people have complained about in previous games, you can't really build fleets as Mali by default. And so here, they solved that problem themselves. And so now you see they have a ton of these cores.
Have they built
And
any
then,
fleets?
oh yeah, they built, then as soon as you get to winter, yeah,
Oh, I see. Yeah, 4
they
fleets. Oh
pop
my
down
god.
a bunch of fleets. Exactly. And then they use these fleets to get position against Congo.
Mhm.
And fight for South Atlantic, obviously. But this is why they're still going after Congo pretty hard. Here they end up in Guinea Rise, Gulf of Guinea, and Gold Coast. So Sao Tome is gone, Lopez Bay, and the rest are probably done. And this is like a really catastrophic position that they were able to get against Congo and while also attacking Ottomans.
Mhm.
And I thought they were strong enough to just do both because, I don't know, they kind of seem strong enough to just do both. They're going to take all of these coastal centers off of Congo at the start and then reinforce. Um, but instead of finishing that off, they decide to also mess with they decide to demilitarize this area with the Ottomans, and
Mhm.
it goes poorly.
Yeah. Well, that's a painful one. Although, like
Yeah,
for Mali, I think it still works out okay as long as someone cripples Ottomans. Because like
and for
focusing heavily on the area where they can gain SCs instead of the area where they can. I don't know. The Ottoman provinces there don't seem like an area where Mali is going to gain a lot, right? It seems like an area where they're going to hold Ottomans back.
yep,
Um, so focusing on growing is kind of a legitimate way to do it. Just try and get to 100% VSCC yourself. But I think you kind of need to do the bare minimum and keep some units around to stop the like losing everything on the Ottoman front. um, yeah. Although maybe this was just like painful tactics because Abyssinia got forced out of Azande, right?
yep, it's possible.
Mm,
I don't. Didn't actually ask them about this after the fact, but it was very on theme in my eyes of everyone else assuming the Ottomans were less of a threat than they actually are.
mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, well, I guess they just continue to think the Ottomans aren't much of a threat, and they're doing well. This whole naval position made me uncomfortable with Mali long term because I'm thinking these fleets are probably going to push into South Atlantic Ocean relatively soon, and I want South Atlantic Ocean for myself because I want all of South America. So I don't love that. Plus, they're doing very well. This is before the turn flips. After turn flips are 23. This is before retreats, though, so they're actually only 21. But they're doing very well as far as winning the game. And something I've talked about at length, and I'm going to reiterate, is that the regional miners have the easiest time winning the game because they have fewer enemies. When I look at Mali, right now, they kind of neighbor the Ottomans. I'd say they really neighbor the Ottomans. They neighbor me, technically. They have Portugal and they have Congo. So that's only four neighbors who can actually hurt them. And Portugal is kind of focused on me. Congo is getting crushed by Mali and Portugal. And so if they can't coordinate, there's no one who can stop Mali.
Yep.
And so if they just keep playing well and winning, they will win this game in the long run because no one will be able to stop them, except for me, basically. And I'm going to need to then get a bunch of shit into South Atlantic Ocean and try to fight them for it. But they have all of these cores now that are on the coast, so they're going to be able to fight for South Atlantic. So I'm not going to be able to stop them in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Unless things go very smoothly for me everywhere and I can really fight for South Atlantic. But obviously, I have my priorities. I can't take like this is a lower priority. Stopping them from winning is secondary to me actually winning. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
oof. So they're really scary. So I'm talking to Ottomans here, and I'm like, okay, Ottomans, look, you're probably not going to win this game. Like not alone, right? You can't solo anymore. Probably you're not going to get there. And I don't want to kill you because I need you against Mali afterwards. So how about you just like let me take my ship back and let's go hit Mali. And when I say let me take my ship back, I don't mean like Sardinia and Baleares. I mean like Barcelona and Barcelona. And then you back out of the rest of this stuff, and then we're just good. And you'll pull some fleets away. I've already gotten Corsica back. Can we call this off? I think I sent the Black Knight memes from Monty Python. Of all right, we'll
let's
call it a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and he laughed at that and then said no. Basically.
Well, gotta admire the honesty, I suppose.
Oh, I mean, sorry. To be clear, he didn't. He said, "Sure, I'll think about it and we'll talk about some stuff." He said, "Diplomatic,
okay.
no."
No,
And then we talked about some stuff, and then he ignored it. Yeah, no honesty here. No, it was very annoying again. Or maybe I'm sorry. This might have been a turn actually where he did. Let me double check.
Wait, hang on. Can you go back a phase real quick? Because
Yeah.
I thought Tyrrhenian Sea got dislodged this turn. No, it was Corsica supporting. Okay. I was gonna say, if they had dislodged Tyrrhenian Sea, then Ottoman's position actually, I think, gets worse. Because Austria retreats into Sardinia, right?
Yeah, probably. But this is still plenty okay. At being in Tyrrhenian Sea here. You know, actually, I think this is a time where the Ottomans, after lose Corsica, do come to me and are like, all right, fine. Let's make peace, and then here's some moves that I'm gonna do to demilitarize it. And here's where I start talking to Portugal again in earnest. Because it's like, hey, we actually need to stop Mali from winning. And Portugal's like, oh, finally, you see the real threat to this game. Mali, not the Ottomans. And I'm like, again, worth noting, Ottomans were at 39 centers at the start of this year. They had a coalition of everyone attacking them except Portugal and Abyssinia. And they still went +3. So, I will point out that it wasn't like everyone was seriously committing everything they could against them. Let's look at Austria, for example. Austria, like, they pulled out. They don't have a bunch of units over here. Transylvania doesn't stay hard against them, right? Trieste moves back to Venice, doesn't move into Dalmatia, like, right, with Mali, they have this coalition, but they obviously don't really try to fight the Ottomans here, right? They let Ottomans just walk into centers again.
It's really only Mughals who's like properly full force attacking them, and Mughals is
excuse
is
you.
For. Okay, you like okay, a major power properly attacking them. You have like 3 units there. It doesn't matter.
I've got like 7 units that are around, kind of messing with them.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the only like major force on their border is Mughals, and Mughals are now going to lose their their other front because of that.
Yep.
Pain.
Yep. Pain. But yes, clearly Mali are the only real threat. I think Portugal just hates Mali because of reasons. And so, all right, that's fine. That happens. Like, they're neighbors, no stuff. But here, I talked to Portugal and I'm like, look, I'm happy to help stop Mali from winning. Let's stop Mali from winning, but also I need Barcelona back because I need Barcelona back. And I think Portugal was actually okay with this. Oh. Meanwhile, the Ottomans are like, all right, fine, I forget what deal we made with the Ottomans, but the Ottomans were essentially like, I'm sick of this shit. It's annoying. I'm not getting anything. Like, I'll let you... I think he's even said, I'll let you take Barcelona back, and then we'll call it off. Right. I think.
The question is, did they let you do that? Well, I guess we'll see in the spring. We've got a few phases to go through first, right?
Yeah, we have a lot. And so I ended up being plus, like, a lot again. I think +3 also. Yeah. So, that's fine.
It is fun that you're staying on exactly the same center counts as the Ottomans every turn.
It's nice. Except they're, like, winning and I'm not.
Yeah,
because... yeah.
But that's alright, you're keeping your power level down. You're making sure no one attacks you.
Yeah.
Well, not very well.
Because I'm still growing, I'm just not a threat to win, which is a good place to be.
Yep.
And Caribbean has finally been cleaned up. There are no hostile fleets in the Caribbean. And so all of these fleets have one place to go.
That poor Puerto Rico army. There's been like in my game of Imp Dip, there's one player who has posted the same meme quite a few times of like one unit being surrounded by enemy units on every single side. Right? That whenever it happens, that person is ready to post the meme. This is the exact scenario where I think it counts.
Yeah.
Yep, that army is dead. That army is extremely dead.
Yep.
Anyway,
Sucks to be that army.
Yep. That's really nice for you, right? Your
so
front
nice.
suddenly transforms into being like 3 provinces on this side.
Yep. Guiana Current, Sargasso Sea,
And Gulf Stream.
or Current, Gulf Stream, depending on how you think about it. But like, I'm gonna take Bermuda, so yeah. Oh, it's so nice. And now all of these fleets that I've spent over here for the game being very productive, right? Taking just centers after centers year in and year out are now going to get to keep flooding out. And so, like, the Caribbean being the core part of my growth and the reason why I was willing to annihilate my relationships with my other colonial neighbors is finally like, this is why. Because I have this.
Yep.
And it feels really good.
Aye.
So, yeah. I'm feeling like things are okay. We just need to not lose. And then I'm going to be okay. And so one of the ways to not lose is to ensure that that Mapuche doesn't just kill me. And if I try to demilitarize this border with them and they attack me, I'm cooked. That'd be really bad. And I noticed they can't actually stop me from moving into Nazca Ridge because I moved into Peru Basin here. So it's one of those times I had to vacate Guatemala Basin to get this pretty brutal position. Because I look at this tactically and I'm like, well, if I just attack them, we'll be okay. And here we agreed, right? I remember Mapuche was like, all right, yeah, again, he messed with me by letting Portugal take Kuala Kolu instead of me. But he says, so let me take it this year and we'll be okay. By the way, bye-bye, Amara. They were a fun neighbor. I appreciated having them.
Yep.
Rip.
And you appreciate having their centers even more.
Honestly, I think I'd rather have them be like a valuable ally, but they just weren't. So, rip.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, that front it feels awkward tactically, right? Nazca Ridge definitely gives you an advantage, and it gives you a pretty huge advantage because not only does it give you the power to attack Calama, it also gives you the power to convoy into Santiago if you need to, right?
Yep.
But your actual army front feels quite weak against these powers. Especially since you said you can't really rely on Netherlands, so the Dutch unit in St. Louis might not be great.
Yep. And part of that point, if I was controlling my army in St. Louis, if this was just my army, then step one would be supporting me into Goiás. And I would try to take Goiás and then try to take Moristad later. Use these fleets to do it. Like, that would be step one. But because I'm working with Netherlands, they're like they don't want to do that stuff tactically for whatever reason. And so it's like, all right, Moristad is their priority, so fine, let them work on Moristad, and then we'll figure things out later. But whatever, it's fine. I think this one I also might script. I might not ask them to do this, and I might ask them to just take Moristad, but it's because that's how working with Netherlands has been the whole game. I don't know, whatever. Yep, it's not ideal. It's definitely not ideal. But if you can convince Mapuche that they should let me take Quelacolu from Chiquitano instead, and this will be the start of our demilitarization, then I won't mess with them in Moristad, and then I'll help them like with South Atlantic Ocean or whatever. I forget what else I offer them. But then I'll certainly help them back into Wagiman, right? And then we can finally make peace here, and then we'll start demilitarizing. And if you could convince Mapuche of that, then how good does our position look?
Then it looks much, much better, but like, that's such a hard sell. At least if I was Mapuche, that would be a really hard sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at builds real quick.
Yeah. Uh,
Boop, 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 boop.
all in. Well, I mean, this is your only reasonable build point, right? You do.
It's definitely my most solid area. Here, I want to build this army in Mexico. I went in like Saltillo and move it into Mexico City to look for convoys again,
Mhm.
because I'm planning on attacking Mapuche here, and we were talking about how nice it is to have the convoy from Nazca Ridge. So I'm thinking Peru Basin to Nazca Ridge, Galapagos, South Pacific, Mexico City, Guatemala Basin, Saltillo to Mexico City, and we convoy into Santiago via South Pacific. Um, but Shoshone is like, hey man, no army in Saltillo. All you take Missouri, but none of that stuff. Like, let's
Oh.
not do that. And I say, okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. So I slap it down in Panama instead, because
That's
Panama can move to Honduras and do
Yeah, it
something
still gets
similar.
to a convoyable position. That's that's neat. God, I feel like we mentioned it every single video at least once, but I'd still be so terrified of Shoshone here, having nothing on this side of the continent with you when they've just got
What are they
two
gonna
armies
do to me?
standing
They can only
there.
take like 3 centers.
This
You
was
gotta
why
have trust, man.
I was like, wait, was that move to Belanga Ridge agreed? Because you didn't have a unit in Mexico City either at the time, right? It's like, it's so scary. But hey, yeah,
It
trust
was in the
is,
fall, right?
yeah.
So they couldn't take Mexico City.
So you got your build off before then, but like, God, it's terrifying. Respect to you for not chickening out of this. Putting
Yeah.
more units down up there. Uh,
I mean, I think if I, as long as they don't attack me, I'm fine. And the way to induce them to attack me is to try to defend myself.
mhm.
So stay open and hope it works out.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm interested to see what happens there. Although you mentioned that you get Missouri eventually, so I assume that peace will hold, at least for the time
Yeah, I
being.
think that happens this year.
Hmm.
But yeah, Fleet Caracas obviously is very nice. Getting to move into the Gulf of Paria. This is why I wanted to get Cord. It moved into Caribbean Sea, built into Caracas, moved into Caribbean Sea, then he built in Caracas. Now it's moving into Gulf of Paria.
Hmm.
It's awesome. Look at how flexible this fleet is. We love it. I did notice, right? Part of the nice thing is that hey, I've got a really small front. It also is really difficult to get my fleets out.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is tough. Although you like you're relatively certain to get into a slot somewhere, right? In North Atlantic, South Atlantic, because there are a lot of open ones between the two of them. The
yeah,
problem is just you have to funnel all of your fleets through those three choke points first. Um,
yep, which is slow going.
mm, yep.
But yeah, so that's where things are. That's where we're sitting. And if you look at Mali, Mali didn't plop down a million more fleets this turn, which is really good news. Because hey, fleets don't fight the Ottomans, armies fight the Ottomans. So them building a lot of armies means maybe they're
Hmm.
really going to try to fight on this front.
Well, that would be very good news.
Yeah, Austria plopped down a couple of armies. I think I would have still rather than put down a fleet in Trieste, but whatever. At least there's something in Trieste. But like, man, if they put their army in Dalmatia, then they could actually fight for Sarajevo and whatever.
Mhm.
Austria at this point has become, I feel, entirely reliant on the Ottomans to win the game, um, and they're like assuming that the Ottomans are going to bring them along for the ride.
Oh, I see what you mean. So I feel like we might need to remind the viewers of what the actual victory condition is at this point, because it's not just
Oh yeah,
getting to your victory supply center count, right? It's also being 25% ahead of everyone else. Um, or you can joint win with people if you're all 25% ahead of everyone who's not joint winning with you. So it does kind of make sense to win with a giant power. If you get close enough to be within that 25% range of them, then sometimes it's just in their interest to boost you up rather than trying to knock you down below it and win by themselves. Because it's easier, right? They can just say, hey, let's continue to work together, and we're two massive powers. We'll have a lot more force to just win this game together rather than me fighting to win the game alone. So I think it's reasonable, but you do have to be very, very careful when you're working with someone so much bigger than you, because they can just say that, hey, yeah, sure, I'll get you up to 100%, definitely, and then they try and race there as quickly as possible once they get within range.
Yep. Or I mean, just don't let you get to 100% and stab you instead.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah.
I'm curious whether that'll
So
happen.
yeah. So I mean, I've offered to Inuit and Shoshone that I'll help him get to 100%. Both of them think I'm doing that. Every single minor power I allied with, I told them that.
Yes. I think
Um,
that is just the right play as a colonial in this game, right?
yeah.
you
And like I'm serious about it. It's like I'm not gonna give you everything you need to get to 100%. But if you're in a strong position and I like can't kill you, then absolutely I'll bring it to 100%. Let's do it.
Mhm.
And I'm serious. Like, oh yeah, I also forgot to talk about this. One of these phases, like around here, I think maybe starting last year, I was talking to um Ottomans and Mali because one of these phases they're like, look, let's three-way. Let's just the three of us can win this game. We don't need anyone else. We're all big and strong. Let's do that. And that got me to start thinking about actually how to win the game. And if we look at all of these powers that are up top, if we look at all eight of them, the total number of centers that they needed summed up to like 320 something, I want to say.
That's
And
almost
there
as
are like
many sensors.
350. Sorry?
That's I think the number of sensors on the map is about 300, right?
There's like 350.
Okay.
And so it was like, okay, right now, if we actually try to get all of the people up top, we can win the game together.
Mm,
Nicely
that's
including me.
I feel
Um,
like that's a little bit of a stretch. You're never going to get everyone to agree to split everything on the map, right?
well, you only need to get the people that are in the top to agree to split everything on the map,
Well, yeah, but
right?
you're never going
Obviously,
to
the
get
people
eight
below you
people
don't care about. I mean, so it's. I think it's very reasonable because actually it means that everyone just wins.
Mm,
Like we can all just win this game together. We've got like 90% of the units on the map, and so if we just like do it, we all get our W and we walk out of this game very easy. Like there's no problem here. We're
mm.
done. We could just win. And I'm like, plus, this has the upside of me getting my allies on the finish line. I've been working with Austria, I've been working with Inuit, I've been working with Shoshone. All my buddies, we just go to the end.
Hmm.
And I don't have to worry about anything more. And I get to fulfill my deals with them. I get to be such a good ally, and we all make it.
Yeah.
Ottomans Somali say, no, F that.
I would probably do the same in that position, right? Because like, even though it's not explicitly stated, I feel like a win with fewer people in it counts for more, or at least it feels like it counts for more. Just because it's the more people you include in your win, the easier it was to get there, right? Because the
Sure.
fewer
But
people
I
you
think a
have to
W is a
fight to
W,
get
man.
there. It absolutely is. And what I'm saying is completely subjective because there's nothing in the rules that say that a win with fewer people is better. Um, but a lot of diplomacy is about what people feel like they want their objective to be at
Yep.
any particular point in the game. So you have to judge what these people actually want as opposed to what's written directly in the rulebook, and I can absolutely see why Mali and Ottoman don't want to go with that.
I'm willing to say is I think if you're the only one who gets the win, a solo victory, a solo Imperial unity, that's different.
Hmm.
I'm 100% willing to agree to that because being the only one to win on a map is different from other people also winning with you. So I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
But I think that like a win's a win. We're getting a W. If is it easier to do one way versus another? Sure, but that's what games are about finding the easiest way to win and then executing it.
Hmm. Like,
That's
weirdly, I mean, I know the people in our Discord server has labeled you as the like evil. They did like a D&D alignment grid, right? And you're always
yeah,
in the evil thing, and I'm always somewhere on the good, which is
yeah.
confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
maybe something
Because
to do
here
with
I
the...
am saying, yeah, let's all just win the game.
Yeah,
We
because
can just win.
you're going, I think we should do this kumbaya and everyone work together, right? And then we'll get
Well,
as many people across, well, not everyone, but like everyone who can win across the line.
specifically the top 8. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm saying, no, I think
No.
you should screw some people over a little bit more to make it
To make it
more...
feel a little better,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
to have fewer people win makes the win more important. Yeah. Whatever. Fine. You
uh,
guys do that. And I'm obviously selling this out to everyone immediately. As soon as I'm having these conversations with people where it's like, hey, Austria, I'm fine with having you win. All of these powers are perfectly okay with you winning the game. Guess who isn't? Ottomans.
mhm.
Like, they're clearly trying to attack you. And Austria's like, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Oh
I
no.
think that I think that I need to win the game with them because, like, how else do I get enough centers or whatever?
I mean,
And in their defense, at this point, it seems really tough. I
yeah.
think just winning the game as Austria is practically impossible from here.
Mhm.
You basically need Ottomans to give you centers.
Yeah, I mean, to be honestly, given we've looked at, like, obviously some of us have been watching all 15 games, or like generally following along with 15 games. Austria seems to be one of the worst powers on the map, so the fact that they've got to this point in the first place is pretty impressive.
Yep.
And even here, like, if they go full force on the Osmans, what are they gaining from that front? Very, very
At this
little,
point, relatively
right?
little.
Yeah.
This is where I feel like they've missed their opportunity.
Hmm.
Like, you have to go back a couple turns when they had the first, like, stab here, I think.
Yeah, then it becomes
Once they,
much
like,
better.
back out of Trieste, right? If they actually send more units in here. But the Austria have done this thing constantly throughout this game where they commit just a little bit onto all of their other fronts, right? Like we saw at the start when they sent some units against Poland and some units against France,
Hmm.
and they were trying to be split out in all of these different ways, and it's been working remarkably well. But it has mean them they are now overexpanded, and they haven't finished off any front, and so their lines are continuing to be taxed. And they're trying to do a similar thing with the Ottomans here, where they send just a little bit onto the Ottomans' front, but then they give the Ottomans time to react in force. Is this
Hmm.
even the turn? Yeah, I think this was the turn. Like here, if they send more units out here, like to really attack the Ottomans, I think your number one priority needs to be piecing out with Sweden and Poland.
Hmm.
And if you talk to Sweden and Poland and you say, hey, look, I've got Bremen, I'll let you keep Kiel. Fine, right? You can have this, and you guys need to figure out Umeå and Stockholm. But like, hey Poland, I know we've had our issues this game. I know I've taken Gdansk from you and all the rest of this shit. But like, I won't take Warsaw back. I'll let you rehab your capital. But together we need to actually hit the Ottomans. And if you do some negotiation flip like that, then you can get into Transylvania, you can get into Dalmatia instead, you can get into Strait of Otranto, and then Ottomans have to use their builds here in the south to reinforce Athens and hold on. Meanwhile, you can actually push into their core.
Hmm.
But like strategically, as Austria, again, I completely agree. Your position sucks, and it's really hard to win. But by trying to fight everyone like this, it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
yeah, to get to 32 centers, right, as Austria, you're only at 20. You have to get 12 more. Let's say you get Genoa, Marseille, Bordeaux, Nantes, Ghent, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Warsaw, Wilno, and Kongsberg. That's plus 10.
Hmm.
You still need more.
Yeah,
Like,
I think you're actually still a year back at this point. From
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was a
I'm
day,
not
but
up to
yeah,
date yet,
yeah, yeah.
right? But it's still like I'm trying to think about like as Austria how to do it, and then again, Austria rebuilds armies in the area, but then they don't like fully commit them. They go back into Trieste, I think, and then they go back out into Venice. Yeah, they move Innsbruck to Trieste, and then Trieste. It's not. I'm used to two
There's
clicks
a
being
lot of
the
phases
next
it
phase.
mentions.
Yeah, then Trieste goes to Venice again,
Hmm.
and it's like continually not sending units to the east, right? Not being in Banat and Dalmatia. Even if you're not really attacking the Ottomans, you can at least negotiate more strongly against them to say, hey, I need Sarajevo at least. Like, but whatever. Again, your point. This was, I think, the best Austria performance in any of the games.
Mm-hmm.
So, still credit where credit's due, and there's a lot of credit due there. It's just, I don't really see this line getting you to winning ever. But Austria's line to victory is just so brutal. Okay, back to real game live. Are we here?
I think this was the right. Yeah, this looks.
I think we've now gone ahead to the moves the turn after we stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, you said how we would never get Mapuche to do the thing. Well, Mapuche kind of did the thing, which
they
is
let you into Kolokolu. Nice.
Yeah, they just like, yeah, we can be friends and peace and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And Portugal
so
offered them support into Chiquitano as well.
Sorry?
Portugal also offered them support into Chiquitano, so certainly they were discussing that possibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice one.
Nice. This was so good. And here, I remember Mapuche sent me a very a funny statement where he was like, man, I'm surprised you went for this, because your position, you don't have a good tactical shot against me. Like, you don't have a strong edge. Which I looked at and I'm like, maybe I didn't, but
yeah,
I don't know. I forget how I responded to it. I might have just literally not, because this was my most fun tactical analysis of the entire game. So here, if you are Mapuche with these armies and this fleet, and you want to stop me from taking Chapaya or Kalama, how do you do that?
So my default would be you would have Gorani tap Quellicolu, right? You would have Rogovine tap Nazca Ridge, but then either of those could get supported into Chapaya. So do you tap both onto Guaki?
Yep.
I think, yeah, you tap Guaki with both, because if you only tap it with the one that's being attacked, then that doesn't cut. You can't cut support against yourself. Now, the issue with doing a double tap like that, generally in diplomacy, this is something you always have to look at, right? Is if you don't guarantee that you're not, if you don't guarantee that you hold those provinces, then the enemy can support you can support themselves into one of them. You walk out of the other because of your tap, and they can walk into that one as well. But here, I think
so
that's
Captain Meme is describing. So let's presume he didn't have this fleet in Rogovine Basin here. Actually, we should have had a sandbox set up for this. But what he's talking about is let's say you have Chapaya and Kalama double tap Chakwi, and Rogovine Basin isn't around. If I have Nazca Ridge support Guaqui into Kalama, then Guaqui ends up in Kalama. Chapaya successfully moves into Guaqui. Because Kalama was trying to move in, which would have bounced, but the move came from here, Kalama did not influence Guaqui at all. So Chapaya ends up in Guaqui, and then Quellicolu could just tap Chapaya and walk in straight.
Yes, and then you lose two centers, and it's just painful.
But in this situation, because you can tap Nazca Ridge, it is impossible to lose either of these centers this turn. Right?
Yeah, I think that's actually true. You can't take... You can't... Yeah, they have a moveset that guarantees that you can't take either. That's what I think.
Except for convoy swaps.
Oh.
So, this is the turn that I saw that. I saw that tactical analysis, and I realized that's exactly what Mapuche is going to do. And the counter to that moveset is to convoy Guaqui into Kalama, while Kalama and Chapaya move into Guaqui, have Chuima support Kalama up into Guaqui, and then I can support myself into Gorani as well.
Oh my god, that's so
because Gorani is tapping Quellicolu. Quellicolu supports this into this. Yeah.
Okay, so for those who... This is really quite complicated diplomacy tactics, right? You're not going to find this on most boards. Can you move ahead to the clean map just so that I can quickly talk about why this works? So the way that diplomacy's orders work, if you have two units moving opposed to each other, right? So Guaki moving into Kalama moving into Guaki, they're always counted as fighting each other unless they go via different routes. And the only way they can go via a different route is if one of them is taken via convoy. So in this case, what Ezio is saying is he can order his Guaki unit to go through Nazca Ridge into Kalama so that it doesn't fight the Kalama unit. They're going in different on different routes, so they don't encounter each other. They just swap places. The problem there is because they're having both units tap Guaki to protect, then Kalama will bounce with Chipaya. And so Guaki doesn't get into Kalama either because Kalama didn't get into Guaki. It didn't leave the province. But if you have your own unit support the enemy unit into Guaki, so counter its own double tap, then that goes through, your convoy goes through, and you end up behind the enemy line. It's incredible. I love this.
Yeah. So it relies on this moveset is a bunch of weird diplomacy, like adjudication, because you can't force disband yourself. So like Kalama can't disband Chapaya, so even if Kalama moves here and gets supported in, that doesn't matter. But you can mess with with opponent's self bounces by doing stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that still works to get Kalama out. The problem with this moveset, if I go for the convoy swap, is if Mapuche does anything else, then I don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
And you know what also really destroys this self-bounce idea? It's just convoying into Santiago.
Oh no, please tell me. I mean, we've got a lot of the last turn still to look over, so we probably shouldn't be talking about what you actually did on this turn, right?
Yeah.
But God, I'm gonna be so sad if you just convoy to Santiago instead of doing this.
Yeah.
But I do get it, right? In diplomacy, you generally don't want to be entering orders that only work against one very specific moveset that your opponent could do, because even if that's the best moveset, you don't have a guarantee that they spotted that that was the best moveset, right? They might be doing something completely different just because they didn't see the tactics. So, or even if they spotted the potential tactic you could do, they might deliberately not do what you can counter. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to do something as specific as that convoy swap, which only works if 4 units move in a very specific way. But God, it would have been so good for content.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. Anyways,
okay.
but the rest of the map continues to go smoothly. I finished coring Norfolk, and here's where I do take Missouri, and I took it from Cherokee even, not from Cotto, because we're still bouncing in Arapaho, so that's great. Iowa's moving away, so like, you're even so worried about this front for the entire game?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? I'm the first one getting thoughts from it.
That's really
and
nice.
Erie, yeah, I don't have to stay here anymore because he forced the disband. We can let Shoshone continue pushing to the east, and I take Maryland. And Bermuda's going to get lost because they can't deal with it anymore. Just a bunch of nonsense around here with units self-bouncing and stuff, and the bot was wrong about, like, this unit in North Atlantic Ocean versus Labrador Sea versus Rothsburg's, like, a million times. But, end of the day, I'm going to take Bermuda. And I'm reinforcing North Atlantic Ocean. The attack has begun. And Portugal, that built this army up in Porto that I just kind of glossed over nice and quickly, actually convoyed it away.
Into your
which
center.
Was so nice. Into Tangier. But I've been talking to Portugal about this. And I'm like, look, Portugal, let me sell you all of these centers, let me retake Madrid.
Ooh, nice.
If you retake Madrid, then I don't need to fight you anymore. We can actually be friends, remarkably. I don't, like, the rest of the stuff I don't care about. I just need Madrid. And I need Madrid. And the Portugal's like, okay, sure, that seems fine. The other fun tactical shot that I looked at on this phase was this Austria move. This convoy from Rome into Sardinia.
I don't immediately like it because you're sticking an army in Sardinia. That army is not going to be useful, right? But I assume there's a reason behind doing this.
It blocks. We don't have the units to cover Strait of Otranto, Naples, Tyrrhenian Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have enough units to be everywhere, and Rome is behind Allied lines, so we can do it. Plus, this lets us take the shot at Sardinia while supporting Tyrrhenian Sea to hold.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not risking our stalemate line at all. And if we end up in Sardinia, then sweet. It's going to be a pain for the Ottomans to retake it. And okay, if we force them to retake it, we force them to retake it.
Yep.
And Portugal agreed to retake Barcelona. They supported me into Barcelona. Amazing! Ha!
This is suddenly looking a lot nicer, your European fronts.
Mali, I got out of Rift to make space for Portugal to come in. Mali moved into Gadmes, they're into Fezen. Sagawa, or whatever, is working with Abyssinia against Ottomans. This one doesn't actually do anything. But, like, this is as committal as possible from Mali. So the Ottomans are actually under pressure from here. The Mughals are needing to commit some units back east, obviously, because of the situation. But the Mughals don't have to withdraw completely from the west. They actually can keep most of their units over here to establish kind of a stalemate line. It's not a true stalemate line, but it's really tough for the Ottomans to make any progress. And they can commit units from India mostly to fight against Ayutthaya instead of pulling off the Ottomans.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, slow progress, Ottomans taking some losses, and then Trieste moves into Dalmatia, and then Vienna moves into Zips.
Nice.
And it's like, oh yeah. Hell yes.
Suddenly looking very nice all over. That's that's really solid. I did want to quickly go back to the Mughal front for a second. It's not a massively important thing, but God, that convoy they did was bold into Ayutthaya's territory. Because, like, surely there's a decent chance the Bear Bengal just gets dislodged here, and then you have nothing to defend yourself up there, right?
Hey, ballsy moves often work.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would have been kind of terrified to do this and would have just convoyed to Orissa instead, or just moved into Raja Mahendri, right? But the fact that this works makes it so worth it, and I mean, you get so many units on Bahamo at the same time. It's great.
Yup. Oh, sweet. This was an awesome move.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, I have a fun bit of negotiation where the Tokugawa player had finally been replaced by another Tokugawa player. The Tokugawa player had been replaced a little bit ago. Sorry, I forgot about that. But, like, Shishon and we had already discussed how we're gonna carve them up, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so here I get Ching and Tokugawa to agree to just let me be the one to take Okinawa. I forget why exactly. But I did. And it worked. And then in exchange, Tokugawa has NPO1 move into SPO3, which Tokugawa originally was like, hey, can you let me take Galapagos? So you'll notice that's why we have this army here from Amami into Galapagos.
Yeah, it's just a signaling move. It doesn't do anything, right?
Yeah, it's just a signaling move. But they say, that's why I am in SPO3.
Mm.
And then I'm perfectly fine with this. I'm happy to throw people a bone when they're on one or two centers. You never know when they're going to come in handy. And given the position that we have against Mapuche here, and I should need to talk about tactics against Mapuche, I decided to wuss out, and I'm not going to go for the convoy swap.
No!
Because, so here's my argument. The convoy into Santiago also crushes the order set that I had just described.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they're self-bouncing in Guaqui and not attacking seriously, the convoy to Santiago still gets an army behind their lines. It's a little bit slower because they don't take Colima this year, and it doesn't assert superiority over the rest of the player. It's not like if you go for that convoy swap and that support move against an opponent who doesn't see it coming, that's just styling all over them. But I don't need to style all over them. I can just beat them with solid tactics. And getting a convoy into Santiago, we're still taking Cordoba, things go great. And I know that I'm going to be doing that. So, to show everyone that there is this Tokugawan fleet in SPO3, where he was planning on taking Galapagos. I asked him, instead of taking Galapagos this year, look, Galapagos, he can take it next year. That's fine. Look, there's 2 hostile king units to Amami. I'll just support Holtem and Amami, so he won't lose it. He'll be alive next year. But could he just convoy me from Honduras into Chiloe?
Nice.
Because Mapuche knows that he's just taking Galapagos, and like he's just got 2 fleets here, so why would he bother taking Chiloe? He'd presumably rather mess with Gunai or something else, right? He wants to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention that he's not going to cover his capital, and like even if Tokugawa takes it with the fleet, it's fine. Like Tokugawa's in one center anyways; it doesn't really matter, so it's fine. So Tokugawa's like, all right, sure, that sounds fun. And so Tokugawa agrees to convoy into Chiloe. And so knowing that I'm getting that convoy to happen makes me want to just have guaranteed progress. Because if I'm in Santiago and Chiloe, then Tucapel is going to fall quickly and everything. Just the entire game is broken open and Mapuche's just cooked.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go for the much, much, much safer line of taking Santiago. So I'm sorry to everyone.
I think it's fair. I'm just so sad from a content perspective. There's gonna be
Yeah, what if I go for the content move and Mapuche does anything else?
oh,
Okay, also, Mapuche did a good job with diplomacy here, because Mapuche and Amaya's diplomacy had been so tough. Here, I kind of thought Mapuche thought we were still at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, I took Quelicol and, like, I moved into Nazca Ridge, but, like, what if they don't make the most defensive moves possible and do anything else? Like, I got scared.
Yeah, it's
I
fair
wished
enough.
out.
But like, think about we could have made a YouTube short of that or something and just gotten all of the diplomacy views. I'm sure
Sure,
everyone
instead we
would
can
know
make a YouTube short
exactly how it
about when
breaks.
it's best to take a slightly worse moveset against one particular moveset, but one that also beats the field.
Fair
Right?
enough.
Which is an important. Like, if my move set had lost to the most likely move set, obviously I would not have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to choose between beating this or that, but my choices were beating the one move set a little less hard, but still beating most other things. Like,
Yep.
really, I was straight about Rocket Beam Basin moving to Santiago, or like a self bounce to Santiago with Kalama, because that would have just. Oh, I would have felt so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wouldn't have, because I was never considering supporting Guaqui into Kalama. Like, that was never going to happen because Rocket Beam Basin taps Nazca Ridge every time.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, it's fine. Um,
Yeah. Well, shall we just go
I
ahead
think,
to the moves?
yeah, I think let's just see it. And or maybe some retreats. Worth noting, in over here, Netherlands did successfully take Maristad, but now St. Louis is open,
Oh
and
no.
so trying to talk to Netherlands about how we're going to handle this area is annoying, and I resort to just telling him, just fucking don't. Like, don't worry about St. Louis, and he just does. He still cares about St. Louis anyways, and it's so frustrating. But whatever, it's fine. He's gonna do his thing. Everything's fine. I should have mentioned this. I let Ayutthaya into celibacy
Mm-hmm.
because here, after seeing Ayutthaya last fall send so many units to the west, I say, "Oh my God, we can actually have peace here. We might actually be able to make this work." I just self bounced to South China Sea because I don't know what else am I gonna do. Oh yeah, he built this stupid fleet in Ayutthaya again. God,
Instead of
and I was like,
Nikon
wait, you
C.
moved all right? It's like not in like Nikon's whatever West Coast, not in Tavoy, and I'm like, dude, you're clearly at war with the Mughals. Like, why aren't you building more armies or fleets over here? But this fleet in Ayutthaya, it has to go to Cambodia, and like he's already in Natuna Sea. So what? Is he going into South China Sea? Is he trying to bring a Tuna Sea out? Like, ugh, that was
Mm-hmm.
so tilting. But I'm still. He made a big, very committal move against Mughals previously, and so I say, fine, I'll let you back into celibacy. Let's. I'm pretty sure I'm about to stab Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get into celibacy, and then we'll stay safe over here. Um, so that's all good. Okay, yeah, now I think we can see moves
Okay.
after we see the
So
retreats into the places doing the stuff. Yeah,
the big thing there is you are probably gonna stab Netherlands. You're saying.
yeah, not this phase,
Okay.
but like I am actually making progress with my relationship with Ayutthaya. Finally,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So what actually ends up happening here is
Good.
Exactly what we were expecting.
Oh, so it would have worked.
It would have worked.
No.
It would have been beautiful. It would have been the most gorgeous convoy swap. It would have like
That's
just the
so
most
sad.
committal convoy swap ever.
Like, the thing is, I
And
actually think that what you did here is tactically better as well, just because it puts more on the SCs at the south, and it doesn't put an enemy unit in Guaki. But God, it's it would have been so cool.
Yeah, it would have been so cool. It would have definitely been the coolest move I've ever done in diplomacy.
Hmm.
The committing to like just super committing to the bit of it. But no, I didn't do it. Instead, I just took Guarani and Santiago and I bounced them out of here. And so it's like, okay, it's just like if you just look at just this local area, and I took Chiloe, obviously. So if you just look at his position after moves, right?
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
this is
um,
devastating.
yeah. So it's not like I didn't crush his move set. I just didn't. I crushed it and other move sets, so it looks less impressive. But
Yep.
yes. So I got Tokugawa to convoy me, which was wonderful. I obviously didn't support Tokugawa in Amami,
Mm.
because
Oh, poor Toku. So they convoyed you and got eliminated for it.
yeah. Notably, I did leave Galapagos open.
No,
So in my defense of
no,
saying I let them take Galapagos, I did let them take
that's even
Galapagos.
worse. Oh, so you can taunt them and say, "Hey, you shouldn't have agreed to convoy my unit because you'd still be alive otherwise."
Well, I'm just saying I technically stuck to my deal there.
Hmm.
The dumb part about it is I actually made Mapuche retreat out of one of the South Pacific Oceans,
Oh
and I
no!
left Galapagos open, so they're gonna retreat in there. Um, but it's okay because I made them out of retreat of both of them because part of the negotiations with Shoshone, I realized that they weren't going to make any more progress against Japan, and I'm still on board trying to get Shoshone into the win.
Hmm.
And so I'm thinking, all right, sweet, let's you need centers. I need some more help against Tapuchi because, yeah, I think it is going to be a tough war. I was not expecting this turn to go as well as it did. Um, like here, obviously, I don't need any more help against Tapuchi. I can just call it and getting but imagine if Tokugawa doesn't convoy me into Chiloe and just takes Galapagos themselves.
Yeah.
Like suddenly, I don't just crush. So I was like, all right, we'll take these centers and we'll take these locations, and we'll let you, Shoshone, take more centers from Argentina, Chile, in this South American area, and that's where we're gonna get you across the finish line, because you'll get a bunch from Eastern North America, and then you'll get some over here. You don't need that many more. Like you only need 10 more. So yeah, it's doable. We can figure it out. Um,
Hmm.
so that was a big thing. That was awesome. Sorry, let's still look at moves. Okay, other big things. I just take Bermuda. That's wonderful. And then North Atlantic Ocean ends up in Iberian Current.
Ooh, fancy. That opens up
Man,
some
that's
interesting
nice.
possibilities. Um.
It does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
And then Porto got convoyed out. Now Gibraltar gets convoyed out.
Oh my god, they
Mm,
were coring Gibraltar as well last turn, so they
they
started
were.
doing that to
And they
just
canceled the core to get it convoyed out. I forget where it gets convoyed to. It looks like it's getting convoyed to Tangier, and Tangier's taking Marrakesh.
yes.
Meanwhile, of course, Mali decides to stop using Gadmes and Fezin and Zagwa against the Ottomans.
Well, because you rotated Portugal against them, right? That's that's fair enough on their side.
Okay, in my defense, I had nothing to do with rotating Portugal against them. Portugal took everything they could off of me.
Hmm.
This was just going to happen, right? I lost everything there was to lose except Barcelona. And here, after Portugal supported me into Barcelona, Portugal immediately went to the Ottomans and asked for support into Barcelona. Um,
Gotta respect the hustle. But
Gotta
they
respect the
convoyed ours
hustle.
at the same time. That's like
Yep.
that's hilarious. Well, wouldn't they have just made you retreat into Madrid if that had happened? I guess the Ottomans must have said no, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
presumably. Or didn't respond or something. But either way, this worked out. And I am so happy with this, because now there's only one hostile army on Iberia. Unfortunately, Portugal's still building, and as Portugal tends to do this game, they're going to build more armies because of Portugal. Classic Portuguese army. Ugh. Anyways. Okay, North America. Yeah, I took Missouri. Shoshone sadly decided to bring their army back into Iowa because they didn't want me to just take more dots. But I, of course, don't betray their trust. I stay on good terms with them. I move into Muskogee and I move into Catawba. This is because I'm planning on convoying armies over into Iberia, and the easiest way to do that seems to be like Catawba, Gulfstream, Sargasso Sea, North Atlantic Ocean, Iberian Current, Porto, which is not particularly easy, but maybe can happen. And then yeah. So over here, here I talked to Austria about like trying to defend things, and we keep Sardinia.
Oh, nice.
And this is the turn. This was the turn where Ottomans had talked to me after I'd retaken Barcelona, where they were like, "Look, let's actually be done here." And this was the first time that I said yes to them and agreed that I wouldn't screw with them for another phase. And then I screwed them with them for another phase. This was the time that I broke our deals.
Yeah.
Because obviously, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, Austria seems like a better ally to you. Although I do see that Austria is rotating their units back off of Ottomans again.
Yep.
Oh no.
And then Ottomans get convoyed up into Athens. And again, like, you have to play a schizophrenic gameplay in diplomacy often. You have to make allies and stab allies. And in Austria's position, it's such a tough flame. But the one thing that Austria's been consistent about, yes, they've been waffling between being pro-Austrian Ottomans and anti-Ottomans, but they've been solidly anti-Swedish for a very long time now. And we'll see if they ever get anything out of it. I'll give you a hint. They don't.
Yeah, that's so hard.
They get stalemated here, and they've been stalemated here for years, and you're never going to break all these Swedish fleets.
You can only break them if you manage to get a ton of fleet builds, which is what they're trying to do in the Netherlands/Belgium, I think. They're coring all of that to try and pump them out. But where are you going to get those builds from if you're just pitting all your units on the top line? There's...
You can get a couple, right? They still have a few units over here, all that they need to take out France, and I am continuing to help them take stuff and let them take Marseille.
Yeah, but the thing is, you need an overwhelming number of fleets to overcome Sweden, right? Which is...
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah, which is not going to happen. If you get Inuit to help, perhaps, right? If you get England or Inuit on side once they're done killing each other, then they can help you out, but obviously that's going to take a little bit. I forget if I end up supporting Inuit into Northern Atlantic Ocean.
Ideally, you need someone to get into position to convoy into the northern Swedish centres. But even if that does happen, that doesn't really break you through. You have to rely on Sweden going back to defend that and leaving your border a little less defended, as Austria, which I don't think is going to happen, because they may as well just leave a couple of units there to defend against you anyway. The only way it really happens is if you have backed off them, or you've made some kind of peace deal with them and they think that they're safe enough. Which, yeah, that's not happening.
That's it. And it's I just think as Austria, all of these coastal Baltic centers are not yours until Sweden is weak.
Yep.
And as long as Sweden is strong, you can't hold any of these. And so, don't bother. But whatever. Sucks to be Austria. Rough position. They're coring their fleets. They're trying to get ready. They're doing their damnedest. But yeah.
Yep.
This turn felt good. I felt really good to just mess with the Ottomans a little bit more here, and to get them to waste the turn not taking Tyrrhenian Sea because they thought they were going to take Sardinia.
Yeah. I mean, nice.
Yep.
It probably just feels satisfying from a perspective of I've been losing to this person for the entire time. I finally get a win over them, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've outguessed me at literally every turn, and then all of the times that Portugal did well was also their fault. Ugh, God. And again, the win is that, hey, they walked out of Balearic Sea. And then I say, all right, fine, let's be good. We're okay with this one. I've finally gotten myself under my belt. Now my only priority is to like take Alicia. Oh, and this was also the turn that I end up telling that we have much more talks about three-way draws because here like they backed out of Balearic Sea and we can start talking about really the three of us working together to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I push, hey, let's all win together. We can be friends, like really hard. And then I leak it to Austria that Ottomans don't want them in the draw. And then it's like, and then oh, the funny thing about that is Austria tells Ottomans that I said that like 2 minutes later, and then Ottomans like, dude, can you stop fucking with me for 5 minutes? Like, come on. I'm like, what do you want from me, man? Like, you've been attacking me the entire game. You've lied to me a million times. Like, of course I want to get Austria to attack you instead of me. Like,
so this is kind of it's been reflected in my diplomacy games as well, right? In that quite often now, if I'm leaking something like that to someone, I will preface it with saying, hey, I've got something super important to tell you about, but you have to swear that you won't talk to anyone else about it because it could tank my game, right? And you just make such a bigger deal out of it than it actually is. You go, oh my god, if you leak this, it will destroy
that's the way to get them
everything.
to leak it.
Well, no, because if they do leak that and then it gets back to you that they leaked it, right? You have to make the impression that that will be something that will tank your relationship with them. And so I've been doing that a lot
what if
recently.
you know they're going to leak it no matter what?
Well, okay. So yeah, if they are going to leak it no matter what, then that doesn't help. But you may as... my general opinion towards this is that you may as well try something like that just to try and stop it getting leaked, right? And if it doesn't work, it's whatever. It's not actually as big of a deal as you're making it out to be. But, like, it's worked surprisingly often doing something like that, just saying to them beforehand, this cannot leak under any circumstances, or else we're a little screwed, right? And then you just tell them something completely inane that doesn't actually matter very much, and they go, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to leak it to this person because it clearly means a huge deal to Spain.
Either way,
anyway,
I told Austria. I knew Austria was a leaker. I was pretty sure he was going to tell Ottomans about it because everyone is telling Ottomans literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was confident that Ottomans was going to work with me anyways. And it was just like, dude, stop being annoying. But fine, I'll stop being annoying and you stop being annoying so we can work this out. Let's be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did.
And you
I
continued being annoying.
Oh, not really. No, like, I'm not going to build any fleets in Barcelona. I promise you, Barcelona, if I get a build, it's going to be an army.
Well, yeah, but you still tap Algerian
I don't want to make that promise, actually. If I had a build this year, it would be an army. I tell you that.
Mm-hmm. I do notice that you try and support Portugal into Albarancy, so I assume you had a different deal here than what actually happened. But like you've got to be much happier seeing them vacate Gibraltar.
Oh god, I'm so happy. Oh yeah. Oh, I love seeing them leave Gibraltar. I'm really ecstatic about this. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. This is great though. I'm like really happy, really happy with how everything's going this turn. Like, what a wonderful turn for me. My allies are doing well. My enemies are doing fine-ish. Mali is still crushing, just absolutely dominating Congo. Would be nice if they were attacking the Ottomans harder instead of being a rage bait, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, this south was so good. This part was just so unbelievably juicy that I couldn't say no to anything else. Like, this turn would have been good no matter what. And, yeah. Netherlands just hold up nice and safely. I moved into the Solomon Islands because I knew we were making Mapuche to have two retreats here, and I'm, like, trying to conquer South Pacific Ocean fully. Also backing out of Philippine Sea because I'm trying to demilitarize stuff with Qing. Because it's like, yeah, I think, I don't want them to start sending their fleets to the south. I want them to use their fleets against other people. So, hey.
Who happen to be your allies, but they're not you.
I mean, yeah. Not me is better than me.
Yep, I think that's a good It's a good call. I was just pointing it out because it's funny.
I
Um,
mean, yeah. All right.
okay. Is that basically everything for this turn?
Yeah. I mean, let's just another quick look over at North America, and we just continue to make progress, solid progress
Mm-hmm.
against England. Netherlands here was like, hey, can you not support Shoshone into New Amsterdam? And here I said, absolutely not. Shoshone has 20 units. You have 10. They are far more important than you,
Yep.
especially in North America. And I made sure that I was talking about just North America.
Yeah, this
It's
is
not
actually a
I care about them.
circumstance where you can get away with continuing to work with, like, to say, hey, I need to attack you here, but we can still work together everywhere else. Like, if it's one
Yep.
dot, Netherlands shouldn't be that bothered.
Yeah, they shouldn't be that bothered over one dot. Uh huh.
Okay, you have a much better excuse here than you did on the Portugal one, though, because
Yeah,
here
yeah,
you can
fine.
say, I
Yeah, yeah,
have to
yeah,
keep
yeah,
this
yeah,
person
yeah.
on board.
Fine.
Um, what's happening with Inuit being forced to retreat in the north of North America here? Over on the left. They get attacked by Shoshone?
Oh, Inuit misordered something.
Oh. Uh,
They've been bouncing around. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this was last turn. Yeah. There was a
right.
small hiccup here. Here Shoshone misordered. They forgot to support hold here.
Right.
Um, and oh, this is a funny negotiation because before this turn comes in, like I talked to some people right before face flips, and I was talking to Inuit before his face flips. Inuit right around here was saying, "Hey, by the way, let's just agree to a full-on pact where if Shoshone attacks either one of us, the other one will defend. So we'll 2-on-1 if Shoshone attacks."
Yep, that seems
Um,
like an amazing deal for you.
I love it because obviously I've been worried about Shoshone attacking me for the entire game. And to be clear, we've talked about something like this in the past, but we've never like hard agreed on it as an explicit pact. But here, just the two of us, Inuit offered it, and that was great. Then the turn flips, and I see this happen. And in like the first 30 seconds, I see Inuit take this center and move this army over to the west, and there's a whole bunch of chaos over here. And it looks like he's walking out of this province. So I start freaking out. Is Inuit just stabbing Shoshone? And that whole thing about like, oh, if Shoshone stabs either one of us, will we both double team them was just a precursor to a stab. And then Inuit's like, no, 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 I promise. That's actually just a mistake. It's like if you look at these past turns, Shoshone's been support holding this province for years.
Hmm.
That's just been their agreement. And I did a quick check, right? You see, it's been like 4 years now of this happening. And this turn, Shoshone just forgot to support hold it. And so then in the fall, like a good ally, Inuit doesn't support hold it. They just let Shoshone take it back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. You've got two allies who are solidly working together, and
Yeah.
yeah, it makes me
And
trust
with
them.
me. And then I've got like kind of an ally in Austria.
Hmm.
All right. But yeah, so that was that stuff. North America's going well. They're buddy buddy. Um, and then we get Shoshone to convoy into Hawaii. Another great win for me. And then here moves into Washoe, and so now they can core Hawaii and use the army to do it. Plus, it decreases their presence in North America. So I'm continuing to stay safer and safer. I'm continuing to get safer and safer.
Yeah.
Continuing to stay safe. That's better.
I mean,
Yeah.
both seem correct.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. And then on this front, don't worry about it too much. People work against the Ottomans is the big thing because
oh,
King Qing, despite attacking the Mughals initially, decided basically to stop going hard against the Mughals. And they're just going to take a dot or two, but they're making moves against Ayutthaya here, and importantly, they're also attacking Ottomans in the north, and they're working with Russia against it.
yeah, that's a
And so
huge problem.
Ottomans, yeah, lose all of this.
Hmm. Wait, so what do
So
Ottomans go down to here?
a few. They got
They go
-4. It
down
looks like.
4. Wow. Well, that's pre-retreats. Maybe they get to retreat into somewhere, but That's nope, no. Okay, that is huge. Taking them down four dots. And that was with Austria not actually doing anything beyond taking Sardinia. Um,
Yep.
yeah, well, fantastic.
Yep.
And this is the moment where the Austrian thing can pay off, right? The strategy. Because if you've been doing this kind of, oh, I'll just tickle you with my units and then go back again and then tickle you again and then go back, then there's much more possibility of saying, hey, you got 4 disbands, how about you disband 1 or 2 on my front?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, so I've pushed the us forward a little bit. Did we have any more moves to talk about, or was that... I think
Nah.
that was probably it? Yeah. Okay.
Basically it. Like, yeah, we talked about moves a lot. We talked about the successful attack here against Mapuche. That was the big part of this phase.
Did Mapuche retreat into Galapagos? I assume so, right?
Oh, yeah. They retreated to Galapagos. They're
Where
crazy.
did the other one go?
There was definitely a retreat to Galapagos. I don't know what the bot has issues sometimes. It's fine.
Yeah, where did the other retreat go? Did it go to Marahos? No,
Yeah.
they already had that, right?
Did they?
Maybe they didn't. No, they didn't.
No,
That was... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense as a place to retreat.
Yep. Good defense, right? And then they took Galapagos, because why wouldn't you take Galapagos? And yeah. So this was like, yeah, very good turn for me. I'm ecstatic. Ottomans aren't running with the game anymore. I went plus a lot. I don't think I was actually plus 6 because I had some disbands, I'm sure. But I'm like plus 4 or something. Which, oh, we love it. So good. That's despite losing Tangier, but Portugal is kind of on side. But they didn't talk about moving into Iberian Current. I assume they're not happy about me being an Iberian Current, and the way they show their displeasure is, of course, by holding an army in Porto. Yay.
I mean, I think that's fair enough. It's even like... I would say, as Portugal, I'd be tempted to build Fleet Porto and just push you out of Iberian Current, right?
Oh, man, that would have been so nice.
Uh...
Yeah, because you're not going to push me out of Iberian Current. You can try, but I got fleets North Atlantic.
Yeah, but you can surely get someone to cut the North Atlantic fleets. It's a... everyone around is your ally. Oh my god.
Except for England. But England's disbanding a lot.
Yeah, see, my Imperial Diplomacy game, which we're not talking about all that much here, but it's gone very differently to the point that I view High Seas provinces very differently. Because a lot of people tend to be at war with each other at the same time. You can't really rely on a High Seas province to support anything ever.
Look at my North Pacific Ocean. Oh yeah, we might have mentioned it, but we've literally got every province adjacent to North Pacific Ocean as mine. Slash Shoshone slash Inuit.
Yeah,
right.
It's the power of a trusting alliance.
Yeah, a 3-way alliance, and then by the power of conquering the entire Caribbean, and then saying, "Great, this is all mine now." That's now North Atlantic, and the only hostile power is Portugal. So yeah, the oceans are mine.
Yeah, nice.
And now South Pacific Ocean is almost all mine slash Shoshone, and Shoshone is basically mine. Yeah, I understand that. But it's the nice thing about having a good ally, right? This is the point. This is alliance play at its finest. And this is why this variant is so weird, because you can literally just win with them. Like, you don't have to stab anyone because we could all just win.
Yeah, I mean, in standard diplomacy, you can get that kind of play as well if you find people who view draws as a win, right?
Yeah.
But that's a little harder to justify than it is in this variant.
Given that the rules say that it's a draw, not a win.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But if you don't care about the rules and you just care about how you feel, then board topping while being in an alliance can also be a win. Like, if that's how you feel about it, that's how you feel about it. And that's whatever. But yeah, builds go great. I put a lot of units down. I am at a huge war with Mapuche in the south, and I feel like I'm going to be convoying stuff, so I need to build more armies and to reinforce everything.
Netherlands got
and then I just lost Galapagos. What's up?
Netherlands got a build in St. Louis. This is
Yeah, they disbanded something, I think, to then replace it in St. Louis.
Oh, okay. I think they were in Morristadt, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. They just took it off instead of retreating there.
Yep.
Great. Um,
So it's at this point where, no, yeah, I feel like I should probably stab Netherlands here though, because I think like, okay, Ayutthaya is really not going to be a threat to me anymore. They did move Natuna Sea down into Riau Sea, so I think I can actually make peace with them. So I don't need the Netherlands to prop me up in Indonesia anymore. They've already taken the two centers off of Mapuche in Australia. So Mapuche's really weak now, and I don't really need their support anymore. So it's probably time to just take some centers.
mhm.
Um, so I set myself up to do that by moving into Arafura Sea. So now I can take Flores and Timor. So that's great.
Yep.
And tactically against Mapuche, it's a whole bunch of mess. The long and short of it is Mapuche gets kind of
This,
crushed.
yeah, this just looks chaotic, but it looks like you managed to. Wait, did the
I get into
Chapai move
Tucapel, I
not
convoy
work?
into Kalama, and I don't lose anything.
I thought you double supported Guarini back to Chapaya. Did that not go through?
Yeah, because they double supported Chapaya into Gorani.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it was single support. Right. That makes sense.
Oh, only one support, yeah, because of things.
uh,
Anyways, but we still get convoyed into Kalama, so we're still doing great. Like, it's not immediately crushing. The bigger concern is that Mapuche convoys Mali
oh
into
my god.
Sao Paulo.
Well, that's one way to get reinforcements. Recruit Malian mercenaries.
Yeah, except this isn't attempting to get reinforcements. I had a conversation with Mapuche here, and Mapuche saying, "Look, I think the way that my position finishes best is if the game ends this year. I think the best way for the game to end this year is if I throw to Mali."
Ooh, okay. That makes things interesting. I don't
And so
think
it's
they can
saying
get there, though. Um,
this year, in 1 year, it's probably tough, but 2 years looks very reasonable.
mhm.
Um, and this is the way to do it: is to just start convoying them over and to like give them two centers this year and then another like four next year. Plus, Mali's making a ton of progress in the south already. Congo and Portugal are not able to hold, right? Mali is just rushing through everything. If we go to see the results of the moves, it's easier. You see Mali's ended up in here, Mali's ended up in here. They have units on this entire southern border, and they don't have any enemies over here.
Mhm.
They've still got naval superiority. St. Helena's going to go, like, oh my god. Oh no. The
Yeah.
only ocean I don't have complete control over is a big, big problem. But
Yeah, and it's actually really difficult to wrestle a high sea off of people who have like a decent fleet presence there, right? Even though you have a ton of units in NAO, which will
yeah,
be able
we'll
to
talk about it
force their
later.
way in, if you force a bunch of those provinces, they just retreat into the NAO provinces,
Yeah.
which, yeah, that's just painful.
Yep. So that's really brutal.
Mhm.
Um, because things are going so well. The good news is I had talked to Ottomans and Portugal about attacking Mali already, and they had seemed kind of on board. And we managed to make peace with the Ottomans because we need to stop the Mali from soloing.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I pull out Strait of Bonifacio because I guess it's the thing to do to make peace, right?
Mhm.
Like I want to get back into Madrid. I did it. I want it to be in Barcelona so I can stay safe. And I'm now in Barcelona and Balearic Sea. And Portugal didn't do anything
Yeah, and I see a convoy
about me
coming
just
over from from somewhere else as well.
from Norfolk. Yep.
Nice.
Boop, 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 boop. But it just ends up in Galicia. Mhm.
Mhm.
What? How did it end up in there? That's weird. Um, I have no idea why Portugal built an army in Porto and didn't do anything about Galicia.
Well, I assume it's just
Maybe.
there to defend, right? In case you convoy into Porto, or in case you attack into Porto. Um, the Galicia convoy, it kind of looks evident when you're looking at it like this. It's not something that readily occurs to you, I think, unless you're looking for it.
I guess I had 4 players come out to me throughout the phase to be like, "Hey, good luck on your convoy to Galicia." And I was like, "Yep." So everyone who was looking at the game, even those who weren't paying tons of attention to Iberia, were commenting on it. So,
yeah, it's true. You would have to be a moron to not spot a potential convoy to Galicia, foreboding to the next series we're doing. But anyway, let's...
I know what he's talking about. It's very funny. I hope you guys enjoy it. But yes, I think in this position, it makes some sense because I could also have convoyed into Porto, so it's kind of a guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I felt really bad about going for this convoy because it's a 4-fleet convoy with 1 army, and then a 6th fleet, and then a 5th fleet is support holding Iberian Current. And so I'm like, if this gets bounced, this is so inefficient.
Yes.
But sometimes you just gotta make big plays for the sake of making plays.
Mm-hmm.
And so this felt really good. And I'm still in position in Brocapondo and Guiana Current and Bellum to take Cayenne and Kalina. There might have been something weird here about... No, we're fine. We're fine. I think.
You're going backwards?
Yeah, I went back, sorry.
Yeah.
I think there was a mix-up with... No, there wasn't. This is fine. We're still good. Okay. Right, because Marstad and then St. Louis and Southern Sea wasn't... Yeah, okay, we're fine here. Yeah, there's more misorders around the oceans.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we get convoyed out of Norfolk, and then we bounce in Philadelphia. That was agreed upon. Catawba moves to Cherokee. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Muskogee's in Chitimacha. This is just a defensive thing where I'm like, I guess I can leave it in Karankawa. It's a nicer place to be than Muskogee if I'm in Cherokee and Missouri anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just setting up a nice little defensive line over here. Everything's okay. Getting convoyed to Galicia is just wonderful. It's truly amazing. Turning against Mapuche went great. And then in Indonesia, I end up in Arafura Sea, and I'm still in Sulu Sea to stay defended. Ayutthaya is backing out. They're moving into Malacca Strait, and then back into Cambodia.
Cambodia is an interesting place
Sea.
to back out into, but I guess they want to be defended against the potential Luzon Strait into South China Sea, like Sulu Sea into Natuna Sea. That would be pretty painful otherwise.
There was a fun thing that I noticed where I could have gone for another absurd convoy. If we're looking for ways to give Shoshone more centers, get into Philippine Sea, Luzon Strait, Bay of Tonkin, plus South China Sea, and then we just convoy from California straight into Cambodia. / Phan Rong would have been the easiest one, and then we start landing armies in Southeast Asia, and then that we just crush. I looked at this one, but I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, like while you're attacking Netherlands, it doesn't seem very sensible to open up another front against Ayutthaya.
Yeah, I would have had to do that instead of attacking Netherlands, and hey, I can take a bunch of dots off of Netherlands, so I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. I see SBO4 convoying something. Have we already looked at that convoy?
I don't think so, but that is convoying California down into Chiloé.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
This is what you were saying, getting them their supply centers. I think that's solid.
We give them dots down here. That's why we got them into South Pacific Ocean, and I would much, much rather let Shoshone have South Pacific Ocean than Mapuche. And like now, remember how earlier we were talking about how we had everything in North Pacific Ocean except for South Pacific Ocean under control? Well, now we got South Pacific Ocean under control.
What happened with Galapagos?
So Galapagos, he had Galapagos tap Colon Ridge, and then he had Rockavine Basin. I didn't even store myself into Colon Ridge. He ended up tapping Guatemala Basin and Peru Basin. So I wasn't going to get into Colon Ridge. So
right, fair enough.
Galapagos. It's all bouncing. It's fine. His position is not improving. His position is rapidly deteriorating. He's not going to be able to hold Galapagos. So.
Yep, that's fair. So, we're going to call this episode off maybe a little short, although it's still 2 hours long, that's still plenty of time, just because this makes for a really good stopping point between this and maybe the sprint into the end game that's going to happen relatively soon, I think. Given the whole Marley throwing thing. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We will see you on the next one.